Hey, good morning, geometry. And today we're going to kind of take the concepts we've learned about our if-then statements, and we're going to apply them to some properties. And these properties will allow us to start our first proof. Now, proofs are something that are a big part of geometry class. You're having to prove why something is true, why you can do it. However, today we're going to start by doing proofs with algebra. The reason we're doing it with algebra is, for the most part, you already know how to solve an algebra problem. Okay, so we're going to practice the process of proving with an algebra problem that you could already solve. And then as this week and next week go on, we'll move into geometry concepts. So first, we're going to start by listing some different properties that we'll use. So if we look here at this first one, if A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C. Okay, do you see how it was A equals B, then they added C to both sides? Okay, so this is what we call our addition property, when the same thing is added to both sides. And likewise on the next one, if A equals B, then A minus C equals B minus C. On that one, it's subtraction, because the same thing was subtracted from each side. And as many of you could probably guess, on the next one, if A equals B, then AC equals BC. They're not adding or subtracting, they are right beside it, so that is multiplication or multiplying. And then our final one here, like this, if A equals B and C is not 0, then A divided by C equals B divided by C. The reason we can't have C be 0, you can't divide by 0, that's error undefined, we can't do that. Okay, so this is our division property, as long as C is not 0. Now, if we look here at this next one, if 2x plus 4 plus 3x equals 19, then 5x plus 4 equals 19. As you can see, the 2 here and the 3, they both have the same term and they combine to 5x. This is going to be called either CLT as your abbreviation, or that stands for combine like terms. Now we have to be careful because lots of us call combining like terms anything that involves the x's combining. We can only call it combining like terms if they are on the same side of the equal sign, and I'll explain that more down below. Okay. Now, these next properties we're going to talk about, these next two, we will use them, but not this week, but I wanted you to have them all on this list. Okay, so if A equals B, then B equals A. It goes either way. This is called our symmetric property. And our next one, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Do you see how they cut out this middleman? If A is equal to B and then B is equal to C, we can cut out that B and say A equals to C, and this is called our transitive. And once again, we'll explain that more as we get into that. I just wanted you to have those for the day. So, we got two more. If A equals B, then A can be substituted for B in any equation or expression. And this is an example of substitution. And then our final type here, if A parentheses B plus C equals D, then AB plus AC equals D. You can probably see here they distribute that. So distributive or distribution. So the distributive property. All right, now, those are our different properties that we're going to use. Now, when we are writing a proof, okay, so right here is our problem we are trying to solve. It says solve 5x minus 18 equals 3x plus 2. And then we also have to write a reason for each step. So you guys, I know, are capable of solving that. However, for full credit, we have to give our reasons why and show our steps. So the first one, the first statement, always will be just writing the problem down. And each blank is worth half a point usually. So just for writing this down, we get half a point. And the reason I know what the problem is because it was given to us. Anytime you're doing a proof, that first reason is always going to be given to you. You can't just come up with what you're supposed to prove. They're going to ask you to prove something, and that is always given. So over here on the right, under reasons, that is always going to be given. Now, from here, we have a couple things we could do, and the order won't always be the same. You could solve this in multiple ways, but to move on to the next one, and if it helps you, you can draw like a line here. You can add things. We know if I subtract that, what I'm putting in red there, you don't have to put. If it helps you, then put it. Okay, so if we subtract that over, we're going to have 2x minus 18 equals 2. Now, right here for step 2, what I'm saying is, how did I get from step 1 to step 2? And I use the subtraction property. So I have to put subtract or subtraction. That is how I got from step 1 to step 2. So now, how am I going to get from step 2 to step 3? I'm going to have 2x equals 20 because I'm going to add that 18. So if I add it to both sides, that is addition property. And this is what I wanted to warn you about. We can't call this combined like terms. I know some of you are thinking adding 18. And normally that does mean combining like terms because we put them together when they're the same term. However, for this chapter, combining like terms is only when they're on the same side and we just smash them together. Okay. In this case, this is the addition property because we're adding the same thing to the right side and the left side. So we're almost done. Step 4, the statement will just be x equals 10. And the way I got that was by the division property. I divided both sides by 2, and that resulted. And if it helps you, let me show you in red here. Once again, the red ink is optional. Divide by 2, divide by 2. If the red helps you, put it every time. If it doesn't help you, it's unnecessary, then you don't need to do it. Okay? So, we're going to go to another one here. And when you're doing this at home, you obviously aren't going to have a statements and reasons thing. But just draw a quick t-table here with statements on one side, reasons on the other. And once again, our first step, we just write it down. So 55x minus 3, parenthesis 9x plus 12, close it, equals negative 64. And our first reason, hopefully you remember, is always given. Now, on this one, the next step, we're still going to have 55x. We got to distribute that in there. So minus 27x minus 36 equals negative 64. And that is our distribution or distributive. All right, step 3. So 55x and the negative 27x, they're on the same side. So when we combine those together, we're going to get 28x minus 36 equals negative 64. And that is CLT, or combined like terms, because we are just combining them together. They're on the same side and we're just squashing them together, kind of simplifying it. Now remember, we want to do things one at a time. Our goal here is just to lay out step by step what is happening as we do this. So now, step 4, we're going to have 28x equals negative 28. If you're not sure how I did that, addition. We added the 36 over. Now some of you might be thinking 64 and 36 add up to 100. And you'd be right, except notice here there's a negative 64. So that's why it stays down to negative 28. In our final step, we divide both sides by 28. We get x equals negative 1. And our reason for that last step is division. We divided. All right, so now our final one. Got one more I want to do on this video. And if we write, we always start with our first one. So 2 parentheses 3x plus 1 equals 5x plus 14. And if you're doing this on your own, I encourage you to pause the video and see what you can do on your own. Okay? Now, step 1. Always are given. Next, we need to distribute. So step 2, our statement 2 will be 6x plus 2 equals 5x plus 14. And our reason is distributive or distribution. All right, step 3 here. You could do it multiple ways. You could either move the 5x, you can move the 6x, you can move the 2, you can move the 14. I'm going to move the 5x, so subtract it, and we're left with x plus 2 equals 14. And our reason is because we subtracted that, so subtraction. And now step 4, we subtract the 2 and we get x equals 12. And here once again we'll have subtraction again. We did it 2 steps in a row. Now it's possible, depending on how you solve this, you could have solved it in a different way. And as long as you spelled out what you did and you got x equals 12, then it's fine. There's not one exact way you have to do it. Okay, there's multiple ways to solve this problem. However, this is the way I solved it. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.